Welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today about the most important asset you have. So let's not waste any time, let's get started. You may not know the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. Joseph was a character from the Old Testament in the Bible. His father loved him dearly and gave him a special multicolored coat. Joseph believed that he was going to be the CEO of his father's small business, and he would inherit his father's business to run it after his dad had passed away. His view of his life was fairly small. But Jesus said he came to bring us life and to bring it more abundant for us. Abundant in the Greek or Aramaic means to the edges. God wants us to live to the edges of our life and not just sit and stay in one place in the middle and not enjoy what He's given us. And though Joseph believed he would take over his father's business, God had a different plan for him. God's edges of his life were much larger than Joseph's. However, God had to make him take a journey that was different than Joseph had ever planned. First, he had to get rid of his pride. He did this by allowing him to be sold into slavery by his brothers. When you compare the possibility of Joseph being the president or CEO of a small business or being a slave in a foreign country, most people think that Joseph's job was a demotion. However, God believed that God desired for Joseph to have his promotion. Joseph needed this promotion to prepare him for the future. He had to learn Egyptian culture, language, accounting, organization. God had him on a path to pick up tools for him to be able to use later on in life. If he had not learned those skills, Joseph would not be prepared for the work that God had for him. Eventually, Joseph's thrown into prison, and we all assume that this is a significant demotion. What could be worse than being a slave in a foreign country, but being a slave in a foreign country in prison? But God was working even then. This was a promotion. In prison, Joseph was given responsibility for overseeing the prisoners. He learned about crowd control, feeding, housing prisoners, hygiene. And after he picks up all of these tools, Joseph ends up in Pharaoh's house, second in command to Pharaoh. And Joseph is responsible for saving Pharaoh's house, Egypt, Joseph's own family, and the surrounding countries. What a promotion! However, he would never have been able to do the job and do it well if he had not allowed God to prepare him for the work. If he had kept his pride, never learned Egyptian language or culture, if he wasn't a good accountant, didn't understand crowd control or hygiene, Joseph would never have been ready for the work God had planned. He would not have had the tools. He would never have walked to the edges of the life God had for him. Joseph's original thought of himself and his future was small. But God was preparing him for an abundant life, a life that Joseph could have never prepared himself for. Each step of the way was a promotion, and each new job was preparing him for the next job. Now, what about you? What does your abundant life look like? Well, let me suggest a scenario to you. You and God are talking one day. God has a proposal to offer you, but He starts off with a question. He says, I'm going to let you pick the job you'd like to do when you turn 65. The sky is the limit. However, I get to choose the path you take. What would your answer be? What would you do? I'll give you a second to think about this. In the next video, we're going to talk about your dream job, the abundant life that God has for you, and how these things relate to airports. I look forward to spending more time with you.